right, fam, if you're tuning into this hour, this is our very inspirational conversation. It's my special interview, the style that I like to share and prepare and offer to all of you is one where I actually download the questions straight from the divine. And I have a very special guest in the hot seat who has been chosen specifically by the divine for our Soul Gold live stream series. And not necessarily to be peppered with questions, but they allow themselves to be invited into a conversation that's kind of like a trio. My guests are always navigated by myself, themselves, their own soul, their heart, what they want to share, and be vulnerable with, but also the divine. So it's an extremely co-creative experience. And I've been sharing these, I think about a year now, the Soul Gold episodes, and I find them so juicy, so fun, so inspirational. So if you're tuning in right now, thank you so much. And yeah, let us know that you're there, whether it's the replay on YouTube or our Facebook group, Be Your Own Guru Community, or the live stream right here. So I would love to introduce you to my very special guest, whose heart is wide open for this adventure and experience today, Miss Liza Elaine. And I would like for you, if you don't mind, to introduce yourself to all the people who are watching from home.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting. My name is Liza Elaine Montenegro, and I am an author. I wrote the book Ordinary to Extraordinary Mama. Right
Yes.
there. And I am a transformational breakthrough coach. I help moms undo the knots in their thinking. I help them banish burnout and anxiety, and I help them reignite the fire in their lives so that they could just feel so good about their motherhood, feel like they're making the right decisions for the most important investment they're ever going to make, their children.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I'm just here to gently remind them that they're already all the things that they want to be. We just need to be awake and ears open and eyes open to all that goodness. So that's what I do.
I love that. I'm curious, being an author, is this your first publication?
Yes, this is
Yes.
my book. And I kept it a secret for so long because there was so much doubt, but I stuck with it. I feel like so much of the book um, was channeled, was divinely guided, and I'm just so humbled to have been the messenger. So
Nice. Do you feel like you have more creations on the horizon?
oh my gosh. I think once you tap in, it's just kind of like there's so much flowing through that I'm like furiously and quickly writing every single thing that comes to mind, because if I am able to bring it to life, then it would be such a humble honor.
Yeah, I get that. So here are the questions that I channeled for our interview process today. As I said, I always channel them right before. So I'm going to ask you uh, one of the questions from the list, and we'll just see where this conversation goes because I'm really intrigued where the divine wants us to go in this conversation. So we'll see what develops. The divine wants me to ask you today, where are you located in the world?
I am in T-Val. So T-Val is the Temecula Valley, which encompasses Marietta, Temecula, all the way up to Hemet and Menifee. It's in Southern California, and my husband and I lovingly call it wine country of Southern California.
Nice. And have you always lived there?
We just moved up here about 2 years ago. I consider myself a San Diego girl. I went to high school there, spent all my life there. But it was time for a little bit of a change, and it's a little slower and a little quieter and
Mm.
more expansive out here for the little ones to grow into. So we like it out here, yeah.
So what do you miss from the city life?
The food. We're foodies, so that's about it, to be honest.
I get that. We're the same. In the place that we live, we have so much opportunity to feast and dine at some really amazing places. And if we moved away, I think that would be one of the things that I would miss the most. The
Yep.
divine would like for me to ask you today, tell us about the type of mentors that you have had.
Oh my gosh.
Is that
We're
funny?
like 3 minutes in. I'm gonna cry. Um, so I always say like every day all around us, I think of Drunken Master. Have you ever seen that kung fu movie, Drunken Master?
No, tell me about it.
It's but it's just like it's Jackie Chan. Check out the movie Drunken Master, but the most unassuming people all around us have the most amazing superpowers. And I think for me, it's just kind of like really somehow, somewhere along my journey, I was just given this glorious ability to just really connect right away with whoever's in front of me and just to feel their essence. And so I learn from everyday people who are walking our streets who have superpowers and they don't even know it.
Mm.
I see God in my children. Um, their purity and their innocence, they bring so much wisdom to the table. They reflect back to me when I need to slow down, especially when I don't want to. I'm humbled every day by them and the wisdom they bring, and it's a reciprocal relationship. I feel like I have a responsibility and a duty to guide them to their calling and the light of who they are. And and then the obvious. I have had the honor of working with Shaman Durek. I've had the honor and privilege of working with Ty Gold. I have had the honor and privilege of working with Tony Robbins and the masters at the Tony Robbins organization. So great question, Divine. I've just, I think that wisdom and profound transformation comes from everywhere and anywhere if you're open to it. And I'm so grateful to all of it. And I really believe that by acknowledging God and everybody, that it has brought those huge opportunities to work with these giant spiritual leaders and leaders of like psychology and just human life mastery. So
Yeah, I love that. I'm kind of feeling like the divine would like us to explore this, play with this answer a little bit more. So would you mind just entertaining me a bit and taking a deep breath and feeling into this and seeing if there's anything else that the divine invites you to share? Sorry, babe. It's co-creative.
I wrote the book for moms, ordinary to extraordinary mamas about our moms.
Mm.
And moms are the ultimate divine teachers in our world. And their work is so silent that
Mm.
when we're asked questions in terms of who have you been mentored by? Who have you worked with? Of course, the like loudest, most emboldened names come to mind.
Right.
But when you think about like who's made the greatest impact in every hero's story's life, and everybody's a hero. It's a mom whose story continues to remain unsung. It's the blood, sweat, and tears that she pours into her children.
Mm.
It's the anxiety, the crippling anxiety that she's passing on, dysfunction every time she argues with her husband in front of them.
Mm.
It's the motherly guilt that she's not doing a good enough job, even though she might be running her own business, even though she might just be a stay-at-home mom. I don't even know where they came up with this just a
Oh,
stay-at-home
yeah.
mom phrase, but it's like we are the stewards, the CEOs, the CFOs, the janitors of our homes. We do everything and everything with no credit.
Very
And
often, yes.
yeah, and it's the silent work, but it's truly the work of unconditional love that uplifts and keeps the whole world glued and bonded together. I think it's the like seed of peace. Uh,
Mm.
Peace comes from a mother's heart and a mother's love, and she's able to like be the security blanket in the storm and the chaos. And so, absolutely, my mom.
Love that. I love that. I love that the divine invited both of us to check in. So thank you for receiving that invitation and going a little deeper. What do you feel, what do you feel like your soul's message is to the planet?
My soul's message to the planet, and it's one that I keep learning over and over and over, is that we have to love ourselves the same way we love our children.
Mm.
We as women have to love ourselves as deeply and as fiercely and as ferociously as we love our kids. And we need to be awake to the moments that we are hard on ourselves, because they happen more insidiously and more often than we are aware of every single day. And so we need to ask ourselves, how can I be more gentle to myself in this moment?
Mm.
How can I be more loving to myself in this moment? How can I be awake to the fact that I'm picking apart all of the bad things that I did? And how can I, in a blink of an eye, know that I can just turn that on its head and say, look at all the great things that I did, and focus on that, because it's a choice. And there's so much power in that choice to just say, I'm not going to focus on the bad. I'm going to focus on the good.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I love that you've dialed in on this message. And in my experience of mentoring spirit messengers, part of the curriculum and the program that the Divine and I have put together, it helps each individual identify kind of like what their soul's medicine is, what their soul's message and methods are to contribute to our planet's, awakening or longevity or unity. And I'm it's kind of like a song to me that you have really tapped in and clarified. And even the fact that you've picked up on the need to refine it, because identifying it is not always enough. As you know, like being a messenger for the divine, it's almost like a soul's homework over a lifetime. And the more we refine it, the more we're going to be able to support other people, because we all come from different walks of life with different like experiences and imprinting. And the more you do that refinement process, it allows you to see all the different facets. And it's my belief that the divine will keep bringing more and more souls to you as you do that alchemization. And if you really are passionate about walking your talk, not just being a messenger, but actually living by it, then there's so much refinement to play with. It gives you so much more to explore. So thank you so much for what I consider doing the great work around that, and then, sharing that with all of us today. You ready for my next question?
Yeah, that was so juicy. Okay, I was just taking in the goodness
Mm.
of that last one.
Yeah.
I
In
feel it.
your, yeah, in your journey, what piece felt especially difficult to manage? Like, what would you say was your greatest challenge?
Oh, that's so easy. In my journey, my greatest challenge is balancing balance. If my message is women loving themselves in motherhood, then that means that we have to let go of the shame that we feel in terms of selfishness, like wanting a bath, having having basic needs, and then anything that goes even beyond those needs. So the biggest challenge, I mean, once you get over the guilt, then it's like, am I dividing my time evenly between like my heart and my love and my projects and my the love that I have for my husband and the love that I have for my children. And it's like an impossible equation
Mm.
because it's so I think you really have to like be able to have a meditative practice because there's so much noise in the world these days. And the reason we need that is because we need to be able to tap into our light, and we need to be able to talk to God, and we need to be able to hear God, and we need to be able to hear our heart, and we need to be able to feel all the things. I think that's like the there's all the time management skills in the world, but I think like that's just a bulletproof way to really know that you're on the right track. And I think it's, in my mind, the like maybe advanced like spirituality, like 305 course. But we all have the ability to get there. It's a discipline, and it really, put it in very simple terms, it's just like being able to hear ourselves and then following that guiding light and that guiding intuition, that guiding higher power to where it's leading us. And then having faith that you're walking the walk and taking the right path.
So I agree with you. I'm looking at my questions, and the next question that the divine had lined up for us to talk about was how you feel like you overcame the greatest challenge. And I feel like you might have already answered that because you kind of concluded with following your inspiration and kind of tuning in. Would you say that that's how you overcame that?
I think the divine is asking you to ask me the question again, Tiff. Because something came to mind right when you asked again.
I love it. That's why I really let it be a play space this whole experience. There's no judgment from my side. So here was the first question, and I love what you shared. So like let's mark that as super juicy. In your journey, what piece felt especially difficult to manage? Like what would you say was your greatest challenge? And then the following question was, how do you feel like you overcame that?
So I saw the back workings. I think the divine is asking you to ask me again so that I could be very, very, very honest. And and I, in full transparency and disclosure, um, the marriage was a struggle. Um, and and I would imagine in my hallucination that when a new baby comes into a family, um, the family dynamics changed, especially the bond between a husband and a wife. And my husband and I are so dedicated to the family unit
Mm.
that it caused so much internal pressure and struggle between us to keep it together because that was absolutely the goal. And I think I'm so grateful that our core value was each other, was constantly choosing each other. So
Mhm.
we didn't know how, but we just kept trying. And we are both intuitives and empaths. And I think it's a blessing and a curse because it's like it gave us unique challenges. But it also allowed us to make it to the other side. And every day we're still like, every day we have to make it to the other side. Every day it's a choice. Every day we're starting from zero. Um, but that was the absolute like impetus. That was like the challenge. That was the catalyst. Like our partner reflects like the things about ourselves that we don't want to see. And then when you're type A like me, you're too stubborn to recognize.
Mm.
Yeah, but it, you know, I look back now and it was just the most beautiful unfolding, and it's just the most beautiful story of resilience and commitment and courage. And I think the world of him, and I wouldn't be where I am today without all of that struggle between us.
Mm. That's deep. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for going there. And just to be honest and transparent, there's a lot about your story that resonates for me. I've shared with you before, my husband is an immigrant here in the US from the UK. And I think I had a lot of expectations or ideas around like what that transition would look like. I just thought we would finally be together in person. I assumed that the harmony that we had, we would just, whew, and it wasn't that. So then you're like second guessing, what does that mean? And where are we then? What, all of the things, all the questions. So I feel like what I recognize in what you're sharing is this obviously this devotion and stick-to-itiveness. We're both going to continue to go all in. But I think it also, you have to have like this allowance for each person to have their own identity and reshape that identity and reform that identity and become someone else. And there was something else also. I'm a bit of a magical thinker like you. And if I'm being honest, sometimes that magical thinking causes me to have like unrealistic expectations for people in my life. And so a part of my learning process has been like in raising the white flag, I've had to like leave fantasy, come to reality, and kind of manage those expectations. Otherwise, we weren't meeting each other where we were actually at. I was just like, we should be on this most abundant, blissful, sexy all the time timeline. You know. So I definitely feel like I can resonate with what you're saying. And marriage to me, again, if I'm being really honest, I think it falls apart and recreates itself almost constantly. And the more like we're willing to let go and just show up as what I try to nurture is like what version of myself am I being today? Um, and and try to spend less time focusing or judging him. I don't know how you manage it at your house, but that's where I'm at today.
That should be like the bumper sticker. That should be framed, posted in the living room, in the bedrooms, in the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah,
Good one.
I love that. Well, thank you for taking us there so we can have that conversation. Um, where do you feel like your story is going to take you next? Like, what do you feel like is on the horizon for you? Tell us.
I cannot tell.
You cannot tell? As in, you've signed an NDA, as in there's like non-disclosure agreements, like what's
I'm just joking.
okay.
Um, and I'm kind of not. I was playing with the idea earlier that like I'm in a group called Quantum Leap, and we have to be accountable every single day for what we say we're going to do. And so I'm planning out on my Excel spreadsheet, like working backwards. And so I see the vision from 2025, and then I'm like
Hmm.
setting the milestones, and then I'm working backwards. And then like I got to a point where I wrote a note, and I was like, I can't see past like this like wall. Like I can't see, like I don't have like Ty's gift. I can't see like 2026, 2027. But it's beautiful though. Um, because so to the best of my imagination, there's so many opportunities that are taking shape, and I'm kind of watching them. And I don't think it's humanly possible to capture them in the way that I've always humanly done things.
Hmm.
So I've had to expand into, I don't even have language for it. I've had to expand into this um, larger, expansive version. I'm like growing into my spirit, which is larger than my human physical presence, which is bigger than my aura. And so the breakthrough transformations for women, I'm so devoted to. And whoever the divine sends my way, I'm so devoted to sharing my hacks, my magic, my shortcuts to getting them to that unstoppable life, because I'm so grateful. And most of the time it's us holding ourselves back from that life on fire kind of moment.
Mm-hmm.
That lights me up. Seeing people light up lights me up. Whether I'm in like small, intimate spaces of wise women, or big, giant spaces where we can change people's minds in one fell swoop. Like I'm open to all of it, and I'm excited. I'm so excited. More
Yay.
more coaching programs, more transformation. Just more.
Awesome. So you said earlier that you feel like there's more books coming to you and you've been leaving little notes. Do you feel like you are fleshing out book two or
Yes.
yes?
I think book two is going to be a children's book. And I'm so excited about it. And I guess I put it out there, so I'm even a step closer, but I've already drawn up a few excerpts from it. And yeah, I'm super, super, super excited. It's gonna like you're gonna be able to plant your sorry, it's the child in me. You're gonna be able to like plant ideas into your kids' subconscious so that they can have the power built into them to overcome um, whatever they come across. And so that, and they can always remember like who they are, that they're the light,
Mm,
that they come from the light.
I love that you're putting something like that together. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that and for sharing it with all of us. Um, how would you characterize some of your flaws?
What? What is this?
There's a reason I know the question that comes after this. And if you want, I'll start with, I can give you that explanation why this has value. So, as I mentioned before, in my program, Spirit Messenger Training and Spirit Messenger Mastery, we have a conversation and there's curriculum that supports it around our unique to each individual, our unique soul codes. And similar to what we kind of touched on earlier, when we have identified these like areas of kind of like medicine that we intend to utilize to support humanity's highest. A lot of times they're attached to some of our biggest like frustrations, or there's almost like uh, for lack of a better term, almost like a pros and cons side to it. So, just to be transparent, one of my greatest flaws, which I've been working on, is I have always had a very difficult time forgiving people. And I've grown up in a life experience where there was a lot of things that happened to me that I did not create. Like it was just part of my childhood. It was kind of so I grew up with a lot of like resentments around that and frustrations around that and just felt really lost. So when I initially started having my conversations with God in 2012, I wanted to know what this was about, what that was about. What is this? What is that? What is this? And why did this happen? And this and that. And as I've grown to understand it, one of the like special features, and I do that in air quotes, that I possess is helping people in their own processes of forgiveness, which is hilarious because it doesn't come easy to me. Um, but
But I think
I
that's that are chosen to.
right, right. And there's some things that have occurred in my life. If I get to a place where I'm releasing the resentment and I'm understanding that so and so did the best they could with what they knew how, whatever at the time, and I'm no longer like holding them responsible for my pain. I get to like create new timelines. I get to release them from like they're not beholden to me for that thing. So anyway, I'm just trying to give you some reason why it's a good idea sometimes to examine or share your flaws. And the way the divine described it is there's a sharp edge of being some of our most profound in with our flaws can be the sharp edge of some of our most profound growth and medicine. So if that's supportive, The question was, how would you characterize some of your flaws?
Well, let me take my like long list out.
No, just
That
take a
was
if you don't mind, just take a deep breath, close your eyes, and see where you get guided to go.
okay. That was very supportive, actually. So let's take a deep breath. Let me pick one. So, I mean, there's a lot. I'm stubborn and but I don't like to be, my husband will tell you all day, every day, like you don't like to be told. And I think I I I'm just gonna spit it out how it comes out. I don't like to be wrong. I'm probably like one of the biggest perfectionists. Um, like I just I think it really helped me to hear your story. For myself, growing up, I felt as if, and now I realize it's just the soul lesson that I came to learn, but it sounded like the world was constantly telling me, like, oh, not good enough, not good enough. Like, you could do better. I could have like had a 4.5 and like gotten accepted to the best schools, but it's like, oh, like better, better, better. And and now I see it's a story, but it still colors the way I show up. I constantly like I'm asking myself, like, did I do enough? So I think I'm very hard on myself. I'm very, very, very hard on myself.
Mm.
And I'm constantly, it feels contrived, like, can I make it better? 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 And I'm sure like
Mm.
that works in a lot of ways and it serves purpose, but it's exhausting.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
it's heavy. And it makes you forget that just being is good enough.
yeah, yeah. So, what I feel like I'm kind of receiving to share, a couple of things. One, you sharing, even your husband saying like you don't like to be told. And a lot of times that's a huge identifier for someone who has a very strong sense of like independence or autonomy. Um, right? Because you feel like I got this. I
Right.
I'm like 90% sure I know what I'm doing. And and so it could be one of those things like in your lifetime that you end up supporting people or helping people with their independence and with their autonomy. So there's like a gift, there can be a gift and a blessing seated in there. um Let me see if I can. And the motivational part, the divine's telling me that you were brought here to really motivate others, and you're inspired and you're inspired to create, to provide like momentum and motivation to them. And so it goes contrary to your being to be still or to just wait. Because you're programmed to not only for yourself but to other people to kind of like go, 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 level up next, level up next. So the double-edged sword would be, taking the pause, taking the break, taking the time out, experiencing joy in the journey. And it doesn't mean that your like soul's method or message or medicine is wrong. But it's going to probably always be something that you have to kind of dial in on the balance of just a bit. Yeah. So.
Oh, that is very affirming because it tells me that it's okay
Mhm.
to be that because that is intrinsically a part of your vibrational signature.
Hmm.
But balance in everything is key, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or
If I've got too much going, am I am I experiencing joy in the journey right now? Like, is this, yeah. All right, cool. I love that for both of us. Thank you. Um, the next question was, who have been some of the most influential people in your life experience? Do you feel like we've touched on that today, or do you feel like you've got,
um, no, the most influential people in my life experience have been my dad's parents and my mom's parents. So
mm,
my grandparents, and I feel them around me all the time. And I still seek their guidance and their love and their support. And it's so strong.
mm,
And my mom and my dad and my God-given parents, so my husband's parents and my children. I mean, I just every single moment of every day, and I'll admit it, I'll be the first to admit it, I'm obsessed. But I'm constantly learning and being groomed and just being supported and loved on. And like I tap into all of them and they give me so much wisdom. Oh,
mm.
and sorry, Jay. You too, honey. You're not job liver today. And my friends, oh my gosh, are you kidding? You, Ty, and then
Mm,
just all of the brilliant mamas that I'm constantly surrounded by. I get inspiration like everywhere, but especially from the people closest to me who I
mm.
adore.
Yeah. I really resonate with the idea of the grandparents. Both my biological parents contributed more to my life in the ways of like things not to do. So I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and they were exceptionally influential to me in my upbringing, into my parenting, marriages, and yeah, they've all passed over now, except for I have one grandfather in Ohio. Um, this is actually my grandma. Her picture is literally on my desk that I look at every day.
Oh,
And she was a singer and a performer, and we were two peas in a pod. And she said, I'm not supposed to have favorites, but you're my favorite. And I felt it. I felt it. She would say that like in front of my cousins and my siblings, and I'm like, but I think she felt bad for me because in the dynamics of the family, I think I was the kid that had the least as far as uh, needs met and support system. And I think that she really went out of her way to make sure somebody was loving on this girl. And yeah, yeah. So I have a huge soft spot when people say that their grandparents were really influential because I had some gems, real gems.
oh, I think that that's your one of your superpowers. I think it's just such a supreme gift to see like the challenge as a gift.
Mm,
Uh, some of the people that I mentioned, um, you know, we learn what not to do, but
yeah.
but also in my evolution and and coming to understand that once I forgave that, or once I took the goodness from it, and I think that's the
Mhm.
wisdom of what you bring to the table, I'm also able to see, and after the forgiveness,
Yeah, yeah. It's
I'm
a
able to,
process.
I'm able to see all of the goodness. Like my eyes
Mhm.
are now open to like like the goodness that they are as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for
So,
sharing.
yeah, Doris Ann, I loved her. I still do. I had a dream one time in Spirit Messenger training. We asked the deceased to kind of like leave our primary connection, ring of connection around us so that we can call in our guardian angels and spirit guides. And so I was going through this process myself many, many years ago. And I was worried where that was going to put my grandmother because I liked knowing that she was around. And I had this really vivid dream that I was sitting at this like oak banker's or executive desk. And she stopped by my office, peeked her head in the door, and she said, I don't want to interrupt. I'm not going to interrupt your work. I just wanted to stop in and say hi. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to do this every day. And yeah, so we've had so she doesn't interfere in any of my like channeling, any of my like divine support with people, but there's definitely almost every day there's like a signal or a symbol or something where I'm like, hey, girl. So I didn't know how I was gonna like survive when she died in 2013. She was the most influential soul being person in my life, and I was like, I don't know what my life looks like now without her. um and the journey for me is I actually became the matriarch in my own. She was the one that did all the holidays, all the get-togethers at her house. She was the one that brought us all together, and I kind of resumed that position in a large part of the family and definitely in my segment. So she left some big shoes to fill. But I just love seeing flashes or little remembrance of her. So thank you for allowing me to share this story about her. It makes her feel that much closer. All right, I
No,
have
you
to,
entrusted the right person.
right? Well, and then you brought it up by like even earlier when you were talking about your book that, like the moms are not only the who you're writing for, but there's a reason. There's a because you're writing also. So I love that there's like this ancestral lineage kind of magic happening even with what you're creating and facilitating.
Oh,
So
I
my
would
ne-
to not mention, I my mom has I'm gonna butcher this, nine, eight, um, five sisters. So I grew up like being shepherded by wise women my whole life, and they've been sprinkling their magic on me. And so I'm just enormously blessed. Like
Mm,
so blessed.
that probably lends itself to you being such a safe and sacred space holder in like sisterhood circles. So I love that you shared that with us too. I think that means a lot, to be able to facilitate that.
You know, the irony is, I don't mean to make a sharp right turn, but Spirit's
It's
asking.
okay.
The irony is that I think, and I don't think it's like an uncommon experience, but like I grew up not feeling comfortable in women's circles. Like
Wow.
I felt like I didn't have a lot of girlfriends, and I felt kind of um like I felt insecure about it. Like, how come all the people I'm with like have like a ton of girlfriends?
Mm,
Now I get it. Like now I get the dynamics of it. Now I get like, but you know, I was also looking at what I didn't have because I, you know, that was probably a story that was playing out because I did have so much warmth and I did have so much just like divine feminine flow
mm,
in other areas of my life.
yeah. 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 I think navigating in sister circles, I think it really is a bit of a dance and it almost feels like a chemistry class. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
finding finding the people that you feel most like resonant with and who feel like they help you like explore and bring in those like ingredients of like love or fun. And I think for a long time our sister circles were full of like competition and envy and things that are very like unkind or unhealthy and can really distort the way we look at ourselves and
And each other as women.
yeah, yeah. So I think that I think that's like a very personal journey, because we each have our own little
All of
things.
us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And I think
things
being
that-
in like the right circle can really make a difference. What were you gonna say?
oh no, yeah, it's that experience of like that that first like betrayal of your very good girlfriend, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're so dialed in, by the way.
Yay.
The easiest
Um,
person to have a conversation with.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you're enjoying this experience. It's supposed to be kind of like a casual chat, but I am going to be asking you to read for us soon.
Okay.
So here's the question that's going to set it up. What was the toughest page or paragraph for you to write in your book?
Um, the most difficult part to all of it.
Was there any part where you're like, I don't know if I want to teach that, say that, share that,
All of
put it
it.
in, take it out?
One time, um, you know, one time God told me that my superpower was my authenticity, and I just had to trust it. And there are so many moments that you could call tea in the book, and it makes me uncomfortable because I'm not a circus act or a reality TV show. And it was very difficult to put those very personal moments of my life in
Mhm.
the book. But motherhood is so isolating sometimes. And we subconsciously or unconsciously shame each other, even as mothers. We tell each other, oh, you're not doing this the right way, or you're not doing this. So I just figured if somebody's picking up my book and they're making a story about like whatever they're going to say, and they're going to say something negative about my book, it's not for them anyways. Like my
Mhm.
book is for the mom who just doesn't have enough time to create a tribe around her, who is so busy like taking care of her little ones that she needs an outlet. And I said, I can't talk to them like one on one
Mhm.
and tell them that what you're going through is all normal and we've all gone through it. And the people that are shaming you, they probably went through it too.
Mhm.
And so the challenges and struggles with breastfeeding, the intimate stuff, the like, not so obvious stuff, like what happens behind closed doors, the things that people assign so much shame, blame, and guilt to,
Mhm.
all of it. Like I just put it all out there just so that women would hopefully begin to open the door to releasing a lot of that guilt and shame because it's
Mhm.
a common struggle that we all experience together. And I think the more that we talk about it, the more that we normalize it, then it kind of releases the shame behind it.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. So, sharing all of that, what uh, page or paragraph do you feel like is something that you would like to share?
So I bookmarked a bunch. So let's ask Spirit. Spirit, guide me to something that you want me to share for everybody. Okay. Okay. So just random page 76. And the chapter is called, or the section's called Freedom. Oh, the irony. This is for you. It's called Freedom Requires Forgiveness. Oh, and I'm freedom and your forgiveness.
Yeah, and it's also like July, and I always consider July a bit of a freedom themed month. So bring it.
Oh
Let's go.
my, okay. So it says when you have compassion for others, you begin to have compassion for yourself. When you have compassion for yourself, you begin to have compassion for others. What is the definition of forgiveness? It is the art of letting go. We are typically afraid to admit that most of our anger is directed towards ourselves. When we do not forgive, resentment festers and eats away at us. Ho'opono is a Hawaiian term that means taking radical responsibility for everyone's mistakes on the planet. Because we are all one. We apologize to others for the hurt that they have experienced if we had caused it. When this happens, your heart and soul, as well as the heart and souls of all mankind, expand in a single act of great consciousness. As women get older, osteoporosis or bone breakage is common. I can imagine the same thing happening to all of the parts of us when we let the world harden us and we become cynical as we age. With radical love comes responsibility and compassion for yourself and others. Why do we spend time, money, love, and care lavishly on others, but take shortcuts in giving back to ourselves? We often neglect our own needs as moms and diminish our confidence in the process. We sacrifice doing the things that make us feel good, like reading a book because we're too tired or treating ourselves to something nice. Every act of kindness to yourself is like a little deposit into your love bank that says, I am worth it. Sometimes it means making a substantial investment of time or money into a dream that has been living in your heart for ages.
Love that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I love that you really shine the light on even using the osteoporosis as like a metaphor of like that rigidity and that hardening that can happen over time. And I think in 2012, that would have been that's where I was. I was, yeah, really hardened and and then God did the rest. So here we are. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm ecstatic that your wisdom is available now. It's on Amazon, yes, all around the world.
Yes, it's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, online, all the online retailers. And for your tribe, I could drop a special link.
Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So this brings our beautiful episode to a close today. Are there any other words you'd like to offer or anything else you'd like to share?
Oh, yes. So if you go to my Instagram at _ Liza Elaine _ I know it's kind of hard to remember. And I share my stories there and you get to see not a lot, but as much as I can, the behind the scenes. And yesterday, and it's still on my stories, I asked my 4-year-old daughter, Ellie, what is the secret to happiness? And she says, duh, it's love.
Aww.
It's off in her scooter.
Well, I love the seeds that you're planting with that wise one, that wise little soul already. So
Yeah,
thank you for
that's
sharing your time and your mastery with us today. And feel free to drop all those links for people to connect with you, anything about your programs, even a link to your website or your book inside the Be Your Own Guru community and the event for today. Feel free to publish all those details for people to follow up with you. And then I'll utilize that on our YouTube channel when we upload the replay. Cool.
so cool. You're so generous to be shining light on people, Ty. Thank you so much
Oh,
for
you're
the opportunity.
welcome. Thank
It
you
was
for
magical.
it was. Yay. Thanks for sharing your time with us for this past hour. And I have to say, I'm very excited about where you're going next. I'll be watching and clapping for you on the sidelines. I love you. Take
I
care.
love you. Thank you, Ty.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out this video today. Be sure to like the video, share, subscribe to my channel. And if you really had a wonderful experience on this video, I invite you to share your reflections in the comments section. I love reading those. And if you would like to explore some more of my juicy magic and medicine, please visit my website at newearthmagicschool.com and register for my email list. I've got some things that you're going to love exploring. And if you would like to join our wonderful safe space on Facebook, we have a beautiful community called Be Your Own Guru. Until next time, bye bye.